day. My name is Matt, and this is day 7 of 30 days of intuitive eating, a journey of noticing and listening to the body's natural wisdom. This course was created by Megan McElroan with intention inspired. And today's intention is I am hydrating. Oh, that precious nectar. So today we are going to learn the benefits of staying hydrated and how to do it. And now, our intuitive eating guide, Megan.
Welcome back to Intuitive Eating Encouraged. We are moving on to our next lesson, which is all about hydration. So our intention today is to learn the importance of hydration and how to keep hydrating ourselves throughout our lives. So we were just talking about eating for energy, and I had mentioned that there's other factors coming up when it comes to why you might have low or high energy throughout your day. And one of those is your water intake. Hydration is so important. Water is the main component of blood and is essential for carrying nutrients to the cells and taking away waste products. It's literally needed for every function in your entire body. Every single function, water is needed. So if your body is short on fluids, water, H2O, one of the first signs that you might feel is fatigue, followed by hunger and then thirst. Thirst might be the third sign you have, meaning that you're actually already starting to get dehydrated. And so it's really good to not wait for thirst to have water. A lot of people will say things like, you can stay hydrated if you just drink when you're thirsty. But some people don't get thirsty, right? And there's a lot of reasons for that. It could be hormones. There's so many reasons why somebody doesn't feel thirst. Or maybe you feel thirst and you don't listen to it because you don't like the taste of water, right? And so it's not about trying to wait for thirst to have water. It's more about drinking enough water for the day. So figuring out what your water intake needs to be for the day and having that. And this is the one area where I think it's most this is the only number I live by anymore, right? I used to live by the number by the scale. I used to live by calorie counting. I used to focus so much on numbers and not listen to my body. And while it's still really important to listen to your body for thirst, drink whenever you're thirsty, this is the one area where I aim for a certain number of ounces of water a day. And that's because I've noticed that for myself, if I hit that number, I usually have good energy. I don't have as many sugar cravings. I'm not as hungry. I get a better night's sleep. My skin feels better. It looks better. Basically, my life, the way I function is just way better when I'm hydrated. And so for me, that looks about 64 to 72 ounces of water. And for you, that might be a little different. And we're going to talk about that today. So to maintain your energy levels throughout the day, you're looking for about 8-ounce glasses of water. You probably heard this many times. That's 64 ounces. If you do anything at all for the day, like working out, going on a hike, or anything like that, traveling, going up in a plane and coming down and gaining that altitude and everything, it can cause your body to become dehydrated more, to use up some of that water to go through the bodily functions of maintaining homeostasis as the air pressure in the cabin while you're in a plane fluctuates. It may be there to help you when you're sweating from your exercise, right? We need to replenish that. So think about that, roughly 64 ounces, it could be your goal every day. And then depending on how active you are and what you're doing that day or how thirsty you feel, you might surpass that. And so it doesn't mean you need to start drinking 64 ounces right this second. Of course not, right? You're not going to go from 0 to 100. We want to take baby steps to get there. So let's talk about what that looks like. 1, not all water is created equal. So I'm not going to go into the science of water, but it's really good to make sure that you are having clean water. So if you're drinking out of your faucet and you don't have a filtration system, maybe think about getting a filtration system instead of, having to go buy bottles of water every week. And same thing with your fridge. Even there with your fridge, if the water in your fridge, it has a filter, and if that filter gets dirty, you start to take in whatever is in that filter, right? It's going to be what you're drinking, and it can have bacteria and microbes and all these other things that you don't want in your stomach. There's tons of good bacteria for your stomach, like probiotics and all that, but there's plenty you don't want to. And so we want to make sure that your drinking water, the source of it, is clean. If you don't like the taste of water, you have lots of options. Water is not the only way to stay hydrated. So you can drink coffee, you can have tea, you could have seltzer water. Those are the 3 main areas of drinks that you would have. From there, you could have fruit. So fruit, like watermelon and very juicy fruits, have tons of water in them, along with lots of other foods. So the food you eat can also help you with hydration as well, which is nice. I wouldn't exactly count it towards your 64 ounces, but just know that it's helpful, right? And then when it comes to water itself, we can flavor it. So, we're not trying to add in tons of sugar to your water, but you can add in fruit. You could add in, like other flavors that you like. Like some people like to add in essential oils. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to drink essential oils. I don't know if that's supposed to happen or not, but people add peppermint flavors or lemon or strawberries or cucumber or ginger or mint, right, to your water. And you can flavor it and make it fun. So they make diffusers that you can get so that you can diffuse the water through fruit and stuff. So water doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be bland. And if you don't like the taste of it, it can really help to flavor it. I'm a huge fan of the LaCroix pamplemousse, like a grapefruit seltzer water. I think they're delicious. The only thing I would say is that if all you drink is seltzer water all the time, it can have some negative side effects like gas and bloating because it's so bubbly, right? So you don't want to have all of your hydration be carbonated. You definitely want to have some of it not be carbonated. So regular water, tea, or coffee. And if you're using coffee and tea for most of your hydration, there's nothing wrong with that, but just consider a few things. One is, I don't know why, I look at my hand. I don't know why. It's right there. One is what you're putting into it. So, if you're loading it up with sugar, if you're loading it up with like 7 servings of creamer, you're adding a lot of calories, a lot of sugar. And while it's still going to hydrate you, your body's going to need to use a lot of that water that's in the coffee or tea to help you digest and break down all the sugar you just took in. So the less you put into it, the better there. Not that you can't put anything into it, but kind of like a majority thing, like 80% of the time, if it's not loaded with sugar and creamer, 20% of the time it can be, right? Same thing with, and then with tea and coffee, it's just be careful with caffeine. So if you're somebody who has trouble sleeping at night, then making sure that you stop caffeine at a certain time can be really helpful. For me, 2 p.m. is my cutoff time. If I have caffeine after 2, I am going a mile a minute till midnight. So I learned that the hard way. Listen to your body with that. You can get a decaf tea or a decaf coffee, or just switch over to water. I would stay away from most electrolyte drinks. So anything that's like an electrolyte drink, like Gatorade, they're not off limits. They do work, right? They have a lot of electrolytes in them. They do work for hydration, but consider that these are made for extreme sports. So somebody who's doing a long distance run or a bike ride or hiking or anything like that, or like you just drank last night and you're super hungover, it could actually help a lot because it has a lot of electrolytes. But on a day-to-day basis, if you're drinking enough water, you don't need these extra like Gatorade type drinks because they're full of sugar. They really are. And even if they're not, even if they have 0 sugar, something in that is making it sweet, a chemical, and you want to be aware that that can cause more cravings. Not that it's off limits, right? Nothing's off limits, but just be aware that usually, having these sugary Gatorade drinks that are quench thirsting, like, they quench your thirst and they're full of the things you need to feel hydrated, they're not always the best choice, especially if you're drinking them all day long. And then things like soda, that's just not hydrating at all. So it's not off limits. It's not that you can't have soda, but if you think that having soda all day long is going to somehow hydrate you, it's not true. It's probably going to dehydrate you more than anything. So we really want to focus on tea, coffee, water, seltzer, and food that is watery, like watermelon, for your water intake. All right, so your goal going forward is to slowly ramp up your water intake. And so each day going forward for the rest of this program, we're going to have a little micro challenge for how much water you want to drink for that day. And I will be doing that with you, and we'll be talking about it as we go forward. All right, that is the end of this lesson. And if you have any questions on water intake, please let me know. And I will see you in our very next lesson. Have a great day.
Yes, more water, more of that, especially because I just finished the toilet in the tiny. You want to see? If you're on the visual journey with me, if you're listening to the podcast, well, you have to use your imagination. It's this ipe wood. It's the hardest wood in the world. It's a throne, and then the pea is separated. It's a composting setup, so the pea is separated and it flows out, and then the solids go in the back, and those are taken out manually. Anyway, that was random, but water. more of that. I guess that's my biggest fear. More water is like, okay, I'm gonna be going to the bathroom quite a bit, but yeah, I think just sipping on it throughout the day as opposed to like gulping it down too, for me at least, it's gonna be a good challenge. So let's dive into our healthy habit for the day, which is to drink more water. And we're going to aim for at least 20 ounces of water, which is about 3 cups. So that's, very doable. That's almost exactly how much water is in half of a standard Nalgene water bottle. So yeah, easy peasy. Moving into the wise words we have today are from Lauren Easley, who said, "If there is magic on this planet, it is contained in water." And bust your journal out, because today's journal prompt is to ask yourself, how might your energy, your mood, and your fullness level change if you drank more water? So go ahead and hit pause and give yourself a chance to journal on this. So for me, I know that if I drank more water, I would eat less food, straight up. And so since overeating has been my biggest challenge with food, bring on the water. I'm going to do my best to keep my water bottle close to me at all times, and also do my best to just take a couple sips of water before eating anything. I feel like that'll go a long way. And if I just continue to remind myself about that and just practice that, I feel like that will be a very healthy habit that will unwind a lot of unhealthy habits I have around food. So bring on the water. And that brings us to our challenge for today, which is to try a new recipe that has foods that you love and often crave. I saw Julia Childs make a quiche meringue, and ever since then I've been wanting to do it. And we have book club tonight. We are going through this ancestral medicine book, and book club nights are always accompanied with a lot of delicious food. So maybe I'll try a quiche meringue for tonight. Cool. All right, that wraps up today's intentional session on being hydrated. I am hydrating. Yes, I am. Thank you for taking the time to tune in and get a little more intentional with your day, with your life, by learning how to be a little more intuitive with your food and how that might ripple intuition throughout a lot of other things. I'd be very curious to know, and have been, and have so enjoyed seeing what everyone has been sharing on the platform. There's a link in the description if you want to join the community, join the journey. We're all going through this together. We have a beautiful cohort of souls who are just moving through this and being vulnerable and sharing what's on their heart as we all kind of dive into this material together. So powerful. Right on. Well, sip on, I should say. Sip on. Enjoy the day. Bye-bye.